Well, first and foremost, I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to come talk to you guys today. I'm Jeff Mullen. I'm the Regional Vice President for Fastenal. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit today about our company, Fastenal. And I'm going to talk to you about myself, my career path, how I've gotten to where I'm at today, and then talk to you about some insights as to some of the things I noticed from as a manager when I hired people, the things that I look for in employees. But also, some very common questions that come up to me about, what do we look for? Or what's a successful employee look like? Or what attributes do those people have? And then I'm open to anything you guys want to talk about. If there's something specific that's on your mind, feel free to raise your hand and ask the question. I'm an open book, so I'll give you any and all information that I can. I'd like to start off with some introductions as well with a couple team members that I have here. So I've got my district manager, Zealand Youngman. He runs our district here in the Salt Lake market all the way to Western Colorado. We have 17 branches that he oversees. And then we've got Tyler Stewart. He's one of our market managers here in Salt Lake. So Tyler oversees 4 or 5 business units, 5 business units in the Salt Lake market for us as well. Both of them, a lot of tenure with the organization. Zealand's been with the company for 22 years, and Tyler's been with the company for 13 years. So a lot of experience with them as well. They would be your guys' typical, faces that you guys see. They represent the local market. As I was saying earlier, I'm the regional vice president, so I oversee about 110 branches from Montana and North Dakota, all the way south to Phoenix and Las Vegas and about everything in between. So cover a lot of ground, but we got some beautiful country that I cover. So I'm pretty fortunate to go to some of the places that I get to travel to. So starting out, I guess I'll ask the question, who here has heard of Fastenal? Anybody? Okay, we got a couple. I guess if you don't mind me asking, what have you heard about us? And what do you know about Fastenal?
Safety products.
Okay, how do you know about safety products?
Everybody needs a first aid kit in their work environment.
Yep.
Things like that. I work for a tire company, so the gloves are awesome.
Okay, great.
Things like that.
Fantastic, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. I always like to tell people, Fastenal is one of the largest companies that you've never heard of. We're not a household name. We're not we don't spend a lot of dollars on advertising, whether that's on radio ads or TV ads and things of that nature. But what I will tell you is the people and the customers within our industry are very well known of who we are as an organization. So if you think of some of the largest companies out there, Amazon's, Microsoft, Harley Davidson, John Deere, those companies, Procter and Gamble, we're the backbone of a lot of those companies' supply chains, and we're very integrated within those organizations. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about who we are as a company, give you some statistics, and then also talk a little bit about the products that we sell. Slide. So this is our 2023, just a 30,000 foot view of who we are as an organization. So our net sales were just over 7.3 billion last year. We did qualify for a Fortune 500. We've kind of floated around that 499 to 500, and sometimes we fall out of it. But as of now, we are a Fortune 500 company. We have over 23,000 employees that work for us. We are an industrial distributor, so most of our positions that we hold today are sales related positions, but we have positions under every umbrella, from accounting to IT to marketing. We have drivers, we've got fulfillment specialists, we've got supply chain specialists, and then we have a lot of different specialists within the sales organization. But 90% of our roles are customer facing roles, to where we're selling something to those organizations. Now, the one thing I want to hit on is, though we are a sales organization, I don't really consider us to be necessarily focused on the sales as much as we are on the supply chain. We really focus on being supply chain consultants for our customers, and we sell products through the solutions that we provide. So we have, a few different solutions. Our biggest one's gonna be our vending machines. You guys may have seen them out in the field before, but it's like a candy bar machine, but it's an industrial vending machine to track usage on products that are highly used, but also used to reduce consumption on those items and create a seamless supply chain on those products. So we have over 100,000 vending machines out in the field today. And those vending machines are strategically placed in our customer's facility. And again, it's meant to drive value so that they're not having to manage inventory. They're not having to pay somebody to disperse that inventory. We have technology that we'll put in their facility, and in return, we get the business that's flowing through that vending machine. So that's an avenue that we utilize to grow, but most importantly, it really separates us from our competition because again, we're not just trying to sell them product, we're trying to sell them a solution that's going to drive value to their business. We have a couple other different solutions around vendor managed inventory. And it all comes back down to driving value to their bottom line. So an important phrase that we use at Fastenal is called total cost of ownership. So we look at what does it cost to acquire a part, and whatever that part could be. The one thing that makes us a little bit unique is we can literally walk into any business and we can sell them something. Our product category umbrella is so wide and vast. We can walk into any business or government agency. We can sell them something. Now that's not our avenue of going to market, but it's very unique. But the one thing we want to talk about is not just providing a product, but what does it really cost them to get that product, from, hey, cutting a purchase order for that product to who receives that product, who moves that product around, till it actually gets to its final point of use. We want to look at all of that and try to see how can we drive efficiencies within that supply chain? How can we take some of that labor burden off of the customer and put it on us? And a lot of that is through our solutions and our vendor managed inventory. We have 3,400 in-market locations today. 1,500 of our locations I would consider our brick and mortar, to where we have our stores that are open to the public, but mainly for business to business sales only. So we have customers that come to us, they come pick product up at our branches, but 95% of our business is us going directly to our customer, not them coming to us. Again, I talked to you earlier about, we want to drive out the labor out of their business, and that's us going to them, performing, vendor managed inventory, supplying those products versus them having to spend their time and labor driving somewhere to go pick those products up. Outside of those 1,500 in-market branches that we have about 1,800 what we call on-site locations. Our on-site locations are our greatest partnerships and our most strategic partnerships with our best customers. Essentially, think of an on-site location as a branch that we build within the customer's four walls. So if a customer has the ability to spend a certain amount of dollars with us, we will make the investment in putting a local team of employees within their facility that is an extension of labor to that customer. So that whatever employees we put in there, they only focus on that customer, and the inventory that we carry within that customer is only for that customer. So it's considered our Cadillac partnership that we have. Again, another thing that really differentiates us from our competition. We're not really looking to be transactional. We're looking to be more of a strategic partner with our customers. And so when I talk about transactional, we think about customers or companies who just want to sell something and move on, right? Whether that's through an online model or just drop shipping to somebody's dock. That's not what we want to do, and that's really how we separate ourselves from our competition. We want to be a problem solver for our customers, and we want to be a strategic partner that's ingrained in their business and really knows what's going on. So we have 1,800 customers that have agreed for us to come on site and build out a partnership with those customers. And again, those are our biggest and best customers, and those customers are really driving the growth for us as an organization. So one thing I wanted to point out is, if you look at our net earnings our net earnings was just over 1.2 billion in 2023. That's a really good number, especially when you look at a percentage to net sales. That outpaces our industry, but it also outpaces majority of companies out there at the end of the day. When you look at once all of our bills have been paid, we have $1.2 billion in cash to spend. You know, over the years, as we've grown, and over the last 50 years, we really look at ourselves as being a very frugal company and being smart with our investments. For the longest time, until it's probably about 2010, we had zero long-term debt. We paid in cash and everything. Our founder was very big believer in making sure that we're being smart with our investments. But everything that we look at making an investment in, we look at how is this going to make our customers' business better. And if we can answer that question, we know it's going to be valuable for us as an organization. But $1.2 billion allows us to continue to invest and be the leaders in innovation in our industry. So when you think about some of the on-site models or the vending, having 100,000 vending machines, we own those vending machines. We build those, we own the software, and we implement those out in the field to drive growth. Same with our on-sites. If we go on-site with a customer, we're typically on average investing about $150,000 to $200,000 into that customer's facility. The only reason why we're able to do that is with the amount of earnings that we generate and how profitable we are. Does anybody have any questions on anything on any of the information up there? Yeah.
What is the average size of one of those 1,800 locations?
Really good question. I would say, I can speak for my business, the average size is about 125,000 a month in revenue. As an organization, it may be it's probably pretty close, but our expectation is if we're going to go on site with a customer, that they have the ability to spend at least $100,000 or $1.2 million annually with us. So very good question. Any other questions? Okay, next slide. So I was talking to you guys about the product categories. We actually have 19 different categories that we sell into. Fastenal, that's in our name, right? Fasteners. That's what we were we started with. That's what we makes up the bulk share of our business today. It makes up a little bit under 33% of our total sales. You know, you talked about safety earlier. Safety is our fastest growing category today. And it's going to continue to grow. I personally think it will supersede our fastener sales in the next 5 years. It's just an area that continues to get more importance around it. Obviously, people's safety is extremely important. But one thing about safety too is there's really not much of a budget around safety. There's a budget, don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit of a looser budget when you're talking about somebody going home safe at the end of the day. And has anybody heard of OSHA before? If OSHA gets involved, it gets expensive real fast. And that's where companies look at, they'd rather spend money on the front side to prevent injuries from happening, but also to prevent fines from happening as well. Next would be tools, janitorial products, hydraulic, pneumatics, material handling, cutting tools, electrical, welding. Literally, if we can go out and acquire it, we can sell it. So we have over 400,000 standard SKUs that we stock today. We have 14 different distribution centers in North America. As an organization, we have a little bit over $1.6 billion of inventory on hand. Half of that is going to be in our local markets, at our branches and in our customers' facility. The other half is going to be sitting in our distribution centers. And again, another differentiator for us is we own our own fleet system. So we own all of our delivery vehicles that go to our customers, and we own all of our semis that deliver from our distribution centers to our branches. So we're not relying on third-party companies such as FedEx or UPS. Now we do use them, but that's not our primary source of shipping our own products. 90% of our tonnage that we ship as an organization ships on our internal fleet. Has anybody had to ever send something next day air? Is it expensive?
Yeah.
Really, I mean, you send an envelope next day, they want to charge you $60 or something. It's crazy. It's absurd. Our trucking system, and I'm out of Denver, Colorado. Our truck comes out of Denver, comes from Kansas City. So a lot of space in between. But we've got a few $100 million of inventory that we have access to that we can get next day in Denver, Colorado. Especially if you think of the types of products we're carrying, they're usually bulky, heavy, a lot of weight. So if we were relying on third-party companies to ship that, it would be a massive expense for us as an organization. So we bring that in-house, and then we're also able to provide a savings to our customers because we're more efficient with the way we do our business. And we're not relying on somebody else to ship that product for us. Next. So who are our customers? Who do we sell to? Manufacturing or manufacturers are our largest customers today. They make up about 70% of our overall business. So you think about anybody who's assembling something, that's our bread and butter of a customer. We have heavy manufacturing and we have all the manufacturing. I just combined together 70 to 75% of our total business is going to come from manufacturing customers. Then we have non-residential construction. We have customers that resell product, and then we have government and education, followed by transportation and warehousing. Transportation and warehousing is growing to be a bigger piece of our business. If you guys can think of probably the largest distributor of product that you guys probably get on your doorstep every day, Amazon is a big customer of ours. Now, the reason why I always tell the story of this is Amazon's a massive company. You guys all know that, right? But they use us to supply their products that their employees need on a daily basis. So you go into, call it 75% of the Amazon warehouses out there that is supported by Fastenal. We have Fastenal vending machines in there. We have Fastenal employees in there that are fulfilling those machines with all the products that they're using on a regular basis. So they're obviously a massive company. They're a big customer of ours, but we have other customers in that transportation warehousing that's been a big growth driver for us as an organization. But again, that manufacturing, anybody who's utilizing fasteners and things of that assembling, that is going to be our number one customer, and those are going to be usually the customers that are driving growth for us as an organization.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you give us a really granular example of, say that you have a vending machine at the Amazon warehouse? What types of products would be in that vending machine?
Very good question. So when we look at our vending program, about 80% of the products that we supply through our vending program are safety related. Because every facility has to have safety products and they have to keep them on hand at all times. So, before our vending program, and probably call it 2010 when we really dove into it, a lot of companies had a closet or they had somebody that was managing that inventory. Ordering that inventory when the product got low, they were handing it out to employees, a very manual labor intensive process. So when we put the machines in place, it's able to, replace that individual to where that person can be reallocated to do other tasks that are, more relevant to their business. But safety is going to be the main product that we're going to dispense out of our vending program. But we can dispense, any types of other products, like MRO products, cutting tools. The way we look at it is if it's something that you guys are going through on a regular basis, we want to put a machine close by to the point of use to where that employee can stay working on what they're doing versus having to walk across the plant or go looking for a product that they need to do their job. We want to put it close to them at the point of use, keep them working, keep that business mobile.
Thanks.
So, I talked to you guys about, the products we sell, the customers we sell to, and a little bit about our organization. The one thing that I really think separates us from our competition as well, is going to be our people. We are a very decentralized organization. So I run a region today that is just under $300 million a year. Zealand's one of my district managers. He's running a business within that's doing about $30 million a year. And Tyler's running a business within 5 business units that's doing probably $3 to $4 million a year, right? So each of these guys are making decisions every single day to make the business better. And our founder was a very big believer about empowering people to make decisions. His number one thought was, hey, if we can put people in a position, train them properly, let them make decisions, we will be much better off as an organization. And it's proven true to this day. So, we look at hiring individuals that, really believe in our culture. And we have 4 cultural values as an organization. ambition, innovation, teamwork, and integrity. And all four of those are extremely important. The one thing I always kind of hit on is integrity, because if you don't have integrity, the rest of it doesn't really matter. And if you're in any type of sales role to where you're in front of a customer and you're selling solutions, they need to believe in you, believe in what you're saying to them. And what I always tell people in sales is trust is something that is hard to come by and hard to earn. And sometimes it takes years to get to a point to where you earn that customer's trust. It only takes seconds to lose. And once you lose somebody's trust, it's very difficult to get that back. I talked to you about, we're very decentralized. We want our people to make decisions. We want to empower them to make decisions. We want to train them to make the right decisions. Training is something that's extremely important to us. Every full-timer within our organization is tasked with at least 30 credit hours a year of trainings. We want to utilize it to, empower our people to be more knowledgeable and be more dangerous in the field and set us apart from our competition. But also for ourselves, it helps us from a retention standpoint. It's a proven fact, not only with our organization, but we can definitely see it within our numbers. The more trainings an individual does, typically the more success they have in the role, and the better retention that we have in those roles as well. One thing that I think really separates us from our competition is we only promote from within. So I'm going to talk to you after this about my career path and how I've gotten to where I'm at today. But 95% of our leaders in the organization started at an entry level role. So everybody kind of starts at the ground level and is able to work their way up, including Zealand and Tyler here as well. So I think that is something that really sets us apart. We're never going to hire a manager off the street. That just is not in our DNA. We want somebody to understand our culture and have an understanding of who we are as an organization. And we don't believe that bringing somebody outside and trying to have them lead without really understanding that is a good idea. Now, the only person I will say is our CFO came from outside the organization, right? It's hard to get a CFO. Hey, you can start an entry level position. He was a Wall Street analyst, came in, he's done really great for us. But outside of that, most of our roles and our previous president as well started at a part-time position in the company and worked his way up to be president and CEO. So I think that's very unique for us. So a little bit about myself. So I graduated from Indiana University Kelley School of Business in 2010. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago. Very similar. I had somebody from Fastenal was in your guys' seat. Somebody from Fastenal came to talk to our class about Fastenal and the opportunities that they had. I actually was working a sales job at the time, and I ended up taking a leap of faith and joining Fastenal part-time while I was finishing my senior year of college. And then the day I graduated, in 2010, I graduated a double major in supply chain management and marketing. Little did I know how much that would be relevant to my day-to-day in today's world. But when I graduated in 2010, I had a full-time job offer waiting for me. So I signed my full-time paperwork the day I graduated and went full-time into outside sales. So in 2010, it was right after the housing crisis. There were not a lot of companies hiring at that point in time. So to be honest with you, Fastenal was more of like one of the few options. And I was like, hey, I know a little bit about them. It seemed like a good company to work for. When I joined Fastenal, being 100% honest with you guys, I didn't really think it was a long-term career play for me. I was like, this is a good company to get my feet wet, get a good understanding, get some good sales experience. And honestly, I'll probably be moving on in a few years. But I started in outside sales. I did that for a little bit over a year, had a lot of success, had a lot of fun doing it, to where I was fortunate enough, timing was right. They decided to open up another branch in the market that I was in. So they were splitting the market. So my district manager at the time asked me if I'd go open that branch. So I opened up a branch. I ran it for about a year and a half to 2 years, got it up and running, and then had the opportunity to go take over one of the largest branches in the Midwest. So I moved, took over that branch. I ran that branch for about 3.5 years, and then had the opportunity to move to Colorado to take over the district. So in 2017, I moved. My wife and I moved to Denver, Colorado. I took over a district of 10 branches. And I ran that district for about 7 years. And then, in 2022, had the opportunity to step in the, regional vice president role. So I've been in the regional vice president role, I'm sorry, in, 2023. So I stepped in the regional vice president role in April of 2023, and now, like I said, I oversee 110 branches from everywhere from Montana, North Dakota, all the way down to Phoenix and Las Vegas. And again, I think that right there, my career path within Fastenal is not unique to myself. I think if you look at a lot of managers' position within Fastenal, you'll see a very similar path to where they all started somewhat, we have a lot of people started part-time when they were in college. And started in a full-time sales role and worked their way up into a management position. The one thing that I'll tell you is probably when I became a general manager and then I had the opportunity to go move to one of the largest branches, that's when Fastenal went from a job to a career. And what I mean by that is we'll talk to you guys a little bit about having that mentality of this is not necessarily a job, but this is something I want to do for the rest of my life. And today, I mean, I don't really foresee myself ever leaving the organization. I've been with the company now for almost 15 years. And I truly thoroughly enjoy what I do and the people that I go to work with each and every day. But again, the one thing that, I talk about is, when I recognize that this is something that I want to do long-term, there's more passion behind, my day-to-day, my intentions in my day-to-day. Anybody have any questions so far? Okay. So, one thing I always talk to students about, and this is relevant to any industry, is, these are items I call success killers. And these are the things that you have to, fight through to make sure you don't allow to prevent you from being successful. The first one is excuses, right? Everybody talks about, hey, don't make excuses for that, right? Well, there's a lot of truth behind that. And what I say, especially in the sales world, there are such things as excuses, and there are things where you're making an excuse. And really understand, you gotta be able to look in the mirror at the end of the day and tell yourself, is it something that you're talking yourself into, this is an excuse to make you feel better about the position that you're in? Or is it a legitimate excuse, right? And it's a fine line between both. But it's one thing that I see a lot of. Cynicism, right? That'll be the death of you if you come into an organization with cynicism. I always tell people that it's very evident to see when you have somebody in the organization that shouldn't be, and they become a cancer. And not only do they become a cancer, to that specific business, but it spreads fast. And I'm a big believer of, if we have people that don't believe in what we're doing and don't want to be here, have a negative attitude, then the door's right there. And that's sometimes hard to say, but at the end of the day, I want people around me that want to be aligned with the values and the culture that I have. And if we don't have it, they're only going to drag you down. In fear, again, you can't be afraid to take risks in anything that you're doing. The one thing that I look at, when I stepped into a GM role, I think the first time when my DM came and said, "Hey, what do you think about opening up this branch?" I mean, I was scared. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this." And every position that I've taken, every promotion that I've taken, there's a lot of fear behind it. Of like, oh man. And the biggest one is fear of failure. Everybody has that fear. Nobody wants to fail, right? But you've got to push past that. You got to trust your instincts. So I get this question a lot, in interviews, and just in these types of forums as well, what makes a successful employee, or what makes an employee stand out from the rest? So I gave you guys a few that I feel are very important to myself. A strong work ethic. And I feel like, it's a work ethic is either something you have or something you don't. It's not something that you can train somebody on. Right. And I think it's very evident those who have that strong work ethic, problem solving skills, especially in our world that we live in, that is our job. We want, the one thing I say to my salespeople is if you can go in and solve a problem for your customer, that is a way that you earn trust to where they open up the doors to say, hey, you help me over here and I'm gonna return the favor. Or, hey, you help me on this problem. I have a problem over here. Can you help me with this? Takes initiative. You know, people who come into the organization, they're not waiting to be told what to do. You know, once they're obviously there's training that individual needs, but once they're properly trained, they're not waiting to be told. They're taking that initiative and saying, what's next? They want to grow, right? They want to continue to grow. They're not looking for, again, they're looking for a career, not a job. They're looking for, hey, what's next? And sometimes I tell people is sometimes people get too caught up in looking to what's next for me, to where they're not mastering what they're doing today. They're not mastering the position they're in. They're too focused on what's next. But it is something that you should have. You should want to know what does my path look like? If I'm successful in my role, what does my career path look like long term? Continuous learning and self-development. And again, we all have to look at ourselves and say, we can learn something new every single day. That's one thing that is awesome about my job, is as much as I've been with the company, as long as I've been with the company, I learn something new every day. Whether that's walking into a customer's facility, learning something from that customer. I find myself very fortunate because we get to walk into a lot of really cool places, and it's like an episode of How It's Made. And so I learn something new every day from customers. I learn from my employees. And everybody's got to be willing. If you're a person that thinks that you know everything, or you're the smartest person in the room, it's not going to work out long term for you. And then being a team player, you know, teamwork is very big for us. It's very big for any organization. You've got to be able to help your peers out, and you got to be able to accept their help as well. One thing I always talk to my managers about is about Superman syndrome. Thinking you're just going to do it all on your own, whether that's your ego getting in the way, or you just feel like, hey, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done right. Well, those managers will fail. You've got to be able to rely on your team members around you. But we're 23,000 employees of our organization. Everybody has roles and responsibilities. We have a lot of resources to help our employees be successful. The hardest part is having them adapt those resources and utilize them. This is a slide that I've used a handful of times, with my employees, but also with college presentations. These are 10 things that you guys may have seen. There's posters on this as well. 10 things that you guys can do that require zero talent, right? Being on time goes without saying, but that's a problem in today's world. People being on time, being punctual, making an effort, having good energy, having a positive attitude when you're at work, being passionate about what you're doing, good body language, being coachable, and that's one thing that sometimes criticism is hard to hear, but sometimes you have to be willing to listen to what somebody's telling you and take it with a grain of salt and say, you know what, you're right. I can be better. I can do better. Doing a little extra, going above and beyond what the job requires. Being prepared when you come into work and having a strong work ethic, right? Again, these things don't require a lot of training. These are things that anybody can do when they walk in the door today. And I've hired a lot of employees to work for Fastenal in my time. And the one thing I will tell you is there's a difference when somebody comes in the door. Within about 30 days, you can really sense, is this person going to be a good fit for us long term? Or because you can just pick up on these little cues to see, do they truly care? Are they passionate about what they're doing? Do they take an initiative in the things that they're doing? Do they look at it as a job, or do they look at it as a career? So I put this up there, just to really hit on, we have a lot of different career paths. I kind of laid out to you what my career path looked like. We're always looking for individuals to come work for us, right? Most people start in an entry-level role, are either in college or right out of college. We have very flexible hours with college students. I think Tyler, you've hired probably 8 students from here in the past 12 months.
And we've got 3 that work for now. Go ahead.
So we're very flexible. You can join Fastenal as a part-time job, or you can look at it as an internship and get credits as well. Again, extremely flexible. I look at, you know, when we hire college students, graduating is your number one priority. I don't expect you to put your job first because your number one priority is graduating. We, you know, as long as you communicate with us, we're extremely flexible on what those hours look like. Very accommodating. But, you know, one thing I want to hit on here is you guys are in a perfect position, no matter what degree that you're pursuing, to where you guys should be absolutely be taking advantage of internships or part-time opportunities. And the reason I say that is there's no better way for you guys to get a true insight into an organization other than an internship or working part-time for that organization. Has anybody had an internship? Did anybody take a summer internship recently? Maybe halfway?
Not recently.
Oh, well, in your lifetime. I guess, how was the experience?
It was very insightful. I learned a lot about what organizational is culture in a way that I kind of knew that it probably wouldn't align with my conscience very well.
Yep.
I learned a lot of great skills that were transferable to other organizations that were a better fit.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. I mean, when you really get in with an organization, you're gonna find out, is this something that I could see myself doing full time? And if not, no big deal. You're able to move on. Now, the reason why I always say in college, you guys have a great opportunity because you guys have a lot of companies come to talk to you about what they do and, you know, trying to recruit you guys to come work for them. But the one thing to be cautious of is when you graduate and you go work for somebody full time and then it doesn't work out, you're like, oh crap, I don't really like this. And you quit. You move on to the next one. And then you're like, I don't like this. And you quit, move on. That starts to become somewhat of a red flag for companies because they're looking at, wait, this person just jumped from job to job to job to job. You guys have a great opportunity to really get that insight without having to go full time with an organization. When you guys are thinking about, you know, interviewing with a company, does anybody do mock interviews? Say you guys do that today, or anybody participating in mock interviews? Does interviewing make you nervous? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty natural, right? One thing that I always tell people when you think about interviewing, don't necessarily just think about it's that the company's interviewing you. It's also you interviewing the company, right? If you're going to work for a company, you gotta look at it as it's a marriage. It's gotta be right for the organization. It's also gotta be right for you, and if you're a good fit. And there's no better opportunity for you guys to get that experience outside of an internship or a part-time job. I think that's all. Yeah, and then I've got, you know, our company as an organization, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, Instagram. Feel free to link with us. I'm gonna hit the site, sorry.
Sure.
Yep, there you go. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn. You can add Zealand or Tyler as well. Be more willing to connect with you guys. But if you guys are at all interested, know anybody who's interested, don't hesitate to reach out. We've always got part-time jobs. But that's really all I have for you guys. I would love to answer any questions that you guys have, whether it's about Fastenal, about my personal life experiences, or anything in general. Don't ask me who I voted for. I'm not gonna ask you guys who you voted for. What do we got?
So where do you guys see yourselves growing then in the next like 5-10 years? Because you talk a lot about supply chain, and I know like there's a lot of new growth and movement in new industries like AI, technology, and all that. So where do you guys see yourselves kind of in that world?
Yeah, so AI is something that we're investing pretty heavily, just as a lot of organizations right now, to try to drive efficiencies in our business. When I look at where will we be in 5 years, if you look at our history, our goal is to double in size every 5 years. That's our goal. Now, as of recently, probably been falling short of it. These last couple of years have been a little bit rough. We're still growing. The thing about it is I talk to other companies and I talk to some friends that work for other companies and like, oh, how's everything? I was like, oh, it's a little rough for us. Like, oh, how's the year looking? I was like, we're growing like 8-9%. Like 8-9, like that's fantastic. Like we're barely even growing right now, But our expectations are high. We want to grow about 13 to 14% a year. That is our goal. And for the most part, we've been able to do that. I'd say the larger we get, the harder that becomes in doubling every 5 years. So if I look at it today, I'd say our goal is probably to double in size in probably 7 years now. And that's a good achievable goal. We talk about supply chains and all the different changes with AI additions. We've benefited pretty significantly from some of the investments that we've made to make better decisions with AI. But we're also implementing AI out into the field for our sales personnel to make their day-to-day more efficient, not even just from a supply chain, but just from asking questions or asking how to source or where to find certain products. We spend a ton of time looking for products for our customers, and be able to put AI behind that has been extremely beneficial for us.
So I'm majoring in accounting. Let's say when I graduate, I want to join you guys like in accounting.
Yeah.
Do I have to start out as a sales associate, or is there entry level accounting jobs?
You know, we have some entry level positions that are around, so every region, so we have 11 different regions within the company, so we have 11 different regional vice presidents. Each region has their own finance manager, which has a team of people that work for them as well. So, absolutely, we have a new position that we've come out with that's really more of a part-time position for the regional finance team, to where they're really focused on, you know, the operational side of the business, the assets, you know, inventory and AR type stuff. But yes, no, and we do also have true accountants that work for us, but a lot of those are at our corporate headquarters out of Winona, Minnesota.
Who are your biggest competitors?
Our number one competitor would be Grainger. I don't know if you've heard of them before. But they would be our number one competitor in our industry. You know, the one thing I always tell them, Grainger's a great company, just we're vastly different, selling a lot of the same products. But we just have different go-to-market strategies. And I talked to you earlier about, we really want to be strategic partners. They're more of a transactional supplier. They do really well at it. You know, they want you to go to their website and place an order and have it drop shipped to your dock, and they're good with that. They'll probably do about $16 billion, so a little over double the size from a revenue perspective. The one thing I always tell people, which is really unique when you talk about the value of an organization, even though that they're double the size from a revenue perspective, if you look at their market cap and the value of their organization compared to Fastenal, and that's just the number of shares by the share price, we're neck and neck. I mean, I think as of right now, they may be worth I think we're 45 billion and they're maybe 50 billion. But they do double the revenue. And for the longest time, just until recently, for the longest time, we were a more valuable company than they were, even though they were doing over double the revenue as an organization. Very good company, just completely different market strategy. Yeah.
I'm really curious, you've been at Fastenal for so long, what does the company do to keep you there? Was there anything specifically that the company does to make you want to stay?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things. You know, probably the thing that was most attractive to me once I was able to step into a manager's role was the true decentralization to be able to make decisions. And I learned very quickly that, you know, I was picking the phone, calling my manager, you don't need to call me, just make the decision. And I vividly remember him saying, I have no problem. I'd rather you make a mistake and just make the decision that you feel is best, as long as you learn from it, right? Encouraging mistakes is not a problem. That is a good thing, as long as it's not repetitive mistakes. And so I think when I look at it as, it's more of the entrepreneurial side of things, to where whether it was when I was a GM, I was running my branch and I was making the decisions on what our strategy was, who was calling on what, what assets did we need in the business, to being able to step up to the district manager, to where, when I was a DM, I was, went from running a few $1 million of business at a branch to where I was running, tens of millions of dollars to the district manager, making bigger decisions and not only bringing people on board, but seeing them, grow in their careers. And now, it's the thing that I look back on the most is some of the people I hired in my early days as a GM and where they're at in the organization today. A lot of them are in management positions and things of that nature. So I think the thing that probably kept me the most though was just the challenge of what's next. you know, and I was pretty fortunate enough that, you know, every step along the way in my career, whether it was when I stepped into a D role, then my district got bigger, to where I, you know, I absorbed more territory to step into the RVP role. It was just, there was always that next challenge for me, which always kept it, you know, unique and kind of refreshing each day, you know, and starting with something different. The other piece is just the people around me, you know, and I, you know, it's kind of cliche, but I truly thoroughly enjoy the people that I work with each and every day. And if you've experienced working with people that you don't like to work with, it sucks, frankly. I mean, just, you regret going into work, you're dreading your drive in. I don't have that.
That's interesting. Thank you.
Yep. What else do you guys have?
What does your region cover?
The geography?
Yeah.
So I've got western North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Nevada, and Arizona. One in Utah, South Salt Lake, Utah. I don't have the northern Salt Lake part. So I cover pretty wide territory. But if you really look at it, I said our number one customer is manufacturing. If you look at my region specifically, if I add up all of those states combined, the manufacturing output for those states is right around $80 billion. Where I came from, Indiana, just the state of Indiana alone has $100 billion of manufacturing output. If you move further west, or further east, I'm sorry, there's a lot more manufacturing in the Midwest and the East Coast than there is in the West, right? You start getting into, you know, what people call the flyover states until you get into California, and there's a lot of manufacturing over there. So though we cover a large geography, the opportunities are a lot more spread out. Anything else? Yeah.
How do you guys, give back to community as an organization?
Great question. No, you know, community service and community engagement is extremely important to us. So we have each region has a budget. So I have a budget for all of my employees that they have a link essentially. If there's something that is important to them and near and dear to their heart that they want to donate to, whether that's, you know, a local school or a local fundraising event, whatever it may be, all they have to do is fill out a form. It comes directly to me. I'll approve the dollar amounts, that they have. I think last year in my region, I think we donated roughly about $45,000 worth of donations to local charities, engagements, and things of that nature. But that's just my region, right? As a company, I don't know what our total budget is, but it's probably, you know, in the millions of dollars. I know one thing that we just recently started doing is working with the NFL on providing meals to the underprivileged. And so that's something that we've invested pretty heavily in recently. Again, really appreciate your guys' time. Hopefully you guys found it valuable. If there's anything you guys need, I will, I'll write my information up here, just my email address, or you can come to me, I give you my business card. But like I said, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. But good luck the rest of the semester, guys, and thank you again for your time.